Okay, this is going to be, I think, my last video of the day. I got a little excited here because I'm getting into the good stuff now. And uh, I want to talk now. I've talked about adding the y-axis and controlling it with controller 6 or whatever controller you like. There are some other features here too. You can control with speed or velocity. I haven't experimented much with that. When I have, it hasn't gone so well, but for me, it's controllers. It is some added work in programming the MIDI in your Finale file, but the truth is, even if you're working in a DAW, you'd be doing a lot of added legwork, programming velocity curves and controller, etc. Now I'm going to show you what absolutely makes me think Vienna Instruments and Vienna Instruments Pro are the best sample players out there. This is a lot of fun. So you'll note here there are multiple spaces. In Vienna Instruments, you've got 2 and 2 for a total of 4 slots for patches. In Vienna Instruments Pro, you actually got 8 and 8. What this means is that you can actually add multiple patches. So for instance, I could, there's my violin legato, I could add another sound to that. Let's say, for instance, let's say I wanted the sound of a solo violin, and I also wanted, where's the rest of my more orchestral strings? Just for, I'm not going to leave it like this, but let's say I take my, this is my Vienna Instruments orchestral strings. I could add that to slot 2. All right, now I have them both there. It's loading. And you'll see here that I actually have, oh, did that get lowered somehow? Now I actually have 2 slots that I can mix, right? If I make this one lower, it's going to be mainly an orchestral sound. And if I make this one higher and just make this one lower, it's going to be mainly a solo sound. But I can combine any patches I could have, or, let's get rid of this. I'm going to just hit Control and clear slot. Let's say I wanted to go back to my solo string, special editions, and I wanted the sound of violas and violins playing in unison. I could have a patch that did that. There they are. So you can just let your creativity run with you. But now I want to show you about putting things in the B slot and using the slot crossfade, which is incredibly, incredibly cool. And I want to see for a second here if yes, okay, I'm using a MIDI keyboard to control this. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's look at the way a slot crossfade works. Let's take legato, right? Now legato, there's a patch that's similar, I guess, to legato, which is portamento, right? Portamento is when you actually hear the movement on the fingerboard from one instrument to another. It's like a little gliss. So I'm gonna add portamento to this patch. But I'm also, you see when I have both of these slots loaded, there's this circle here. When I click it, I have now activated slot crossfade, which means that this controller, it's activated by controller 20, CC20, slot crossfade, but it's here. When it's on 0, it's this patch that we're going to hear. Here it is. And when it's on all the way, I'm going to hear, I should hear my portamento slot. Let's see. Oh, it's down though. Let's see. Doesn't feel like I'm really getting that. Let's see, what could it be? Let's clear this slot. Let's clear this slot for a moment and just make sure that that portamento really works. Okay, it's not super pronounced portamento, I think is part of it. That's portamento, and this is legato. Huh. Oh, it's loading. That's why I'm pushing it too hard. Okay, portamento. That's legato. Here's portamento. So you can hear a little bit of the effect. Let's go back to putting legato here, and let's put portamento here and activate the crossfade. And now, when it's all the way down, I'm going to get this. And when it's all the way up, I'm going to get this. And what it means is I could have somewhere in between a less pronounced portamento, and I can also leave this on my legato patch, and any time that I want a legato, a portamento sound, in fact, let's program this in, let's go down to measure 16 here and say, let's do something like that. I'm not trying to be Leonard Bernstein here, but what I might do then is, rather than controlling the y-axis with my controller, now what I want is a controller in Finale that's going to control the slot crossfade, CC20, right? So, and I go back into my keyboard maestro, and I'm pretty sure I've already programmed this to where is it? I think it's with a C, and I can organize these by what the settings are. And here, set crossfade and scale crossfade, right? So this is how I do it, and scaling crossfade is going to be very useful. But right now, I just want to set my crossfade here. So I'm going to choose set crossfade to, let's put it at 127, and then let's put this crossfade at 0, and let's put playback from 16, and let's see actually how that affects. If you what you want to watch here is this level, right? That level. Let's see what we get. Oop, it's not starting in the right place. How do we get that to go to the right place? Let's try it now. Ooh, it's stuck. There we go. Well, there's my portamento. Not as pronounced as I necessarily would like it to be, but we can play with that. Here's another place where this is a really, really cool possibility. You'll note that I've gone back to this file, and I've added a couple of bars here, and I've set this to play now from bar 16. And you'll notice I've got a forte sustain note and tremolo and a diminuendo. Now that should all work out great, right? We've got a sustain patch, we've got a tremolo patch. Let's see how it plays back. And you notice that even though over here the patch switched to tremolo, we didn't hear it. And the reason is, even if you switch the patch, it's only going to affect the next attack. So if I untie this, which is one way to do it, it would work. But what I can do instead, if I want to keep that tie, is I can use the slot crossfade here. So if I go to my sustain patch and I actually add tremolo to 1B, and that was, this has to be checked. I'm just making sure that that's checked. Now, you'll notice if I play this, if I move this slot, it's back and forth between tremolo and non-tremolo. So in this case, what I want to do is, I can have it be sudden, or I can have sort of, maybe this whole thing, I'll start just making sure my crossfade is set to 0. And then I'm going to scale the crossfade here so that we move into, and this, by the way, in the MIDI tool would be continuous data. Make sure I'm doing 20, that's my crossfade number. And I'm going to do scale, which means I'm going to start at 0, and I'm work my way to 127 all the way up. And then I'll select the rest of it here, and I will set that to make sure that, I'll make sure that we're just staying at 127 there. So now what I should hear is that transition. And I could do this, another thing that I could do here, just for one last fun kind of idea is, and again, you build your matrix, what you need, let's say it wasn't tremolo, clear slot, but let's say I put portamento in there, and I had this crossfade that stays active. And what I want to do is have something like this. I could have, we'll create ORD, and we'll put that here, and then we'll put over here Pont, right? Something like that. So we want it to move from Ordinario to Ponticello, and then I could do like a little, I could create like a little arrow. And then what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to make sure that everything's on the y-axis, that I reset my crossfade to 0. And then what I'm going to do is from here to here, I'm going to set, I'm going to scale my crossfade from 0 to 127 if I want to go all the way there. And then I'll just make sure here that I just set crossfade to 127 so it stays there. And now, hopefully, we should get that effect. Let's see how it works. I noticed something odd there, which was there was a jump in the y-axis. So let's make sure that doesn't happen. Make sure y is set to 0. And let's set that one more time. And that's a soft Ponticello sound. It should be. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Actually, it's not. What did I do? I think I put portamento, and I meant that's why we're not getting the effect. Let's clear that, and let's try it one more time. Violin advance. What I needed was Ponticello sustain. This will work now. Let's try it one more time. Here we go. So that's a pretty cool effect. Okay, anyway, I'm going to cut it off there. Your imagination can take care of this, and I will see you soon. Hope you enjoyed.